Yeah, we're here with fixing the fourth wall.
Welcome to another episode of Fixing the Fourth Wall, where we pick the topics where we find most interesting in pop culture, politics, religion. Whatever you're thinking, there's a chance that we're thinking about it too. I'm your host, Alan Mullane, and this is.
I'm your host, Jesse Fetter. And for today's episode, we're going to be talking about the coolest and most desirable powers in all of comics.
And here we go.
Not just comics, fucking all of just fiction out there. 'Cause,
Anything.
I mean, I would love to be a fucking wizard. Not Harry Potter. I mean, Harry Potter was good, but there are much more powerful wizards out there. I.e. Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom. That's the type of magic I want to do. And plus, I don't want a fucking wand. Just,
Yeah, who does? I'd like to have the wizards where you just do the powers, from chanting and whatnot. Fate, Dr. Fate, whatnot. But let's start it off. For me, I think, in my opinion, one of the coolest powers you could have is regeneration. As you can see with Logan, from the X-Men, Wolverine, or Deadpool, who got it from him. It's a pragmatic power. It's not a power that's too far out there. It's one that's useful in, the essence of battle. You get your arm blown off, it's like, oh, wait a minute. It just keeps you going.
I mean, it's the one that if I was to see a future with advanced individuals, it'd be the one that we're closest on the scientific scale of getting. Not saying Wolverine type regeneration, but healing faster is something that's very foreseeable in the future.
Honestly, if we can have the ability to regenerate, hell, it doesn't even have to be as efficient as Wolverine. If we get the ability to regenerate like Nemix from like DBZ, or Cell, who took his structure from Namek, the Namek regeneration power.
That Cell's better than Wolverine. All he needs is one cell. Wolverine still needs a fucking head and a heart.
It is all in here. It's part of my design. Every cell has a life of its own.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. I was just thinking of like the comics of just like, it seems like the more he got attacked in like succession in one sitting, he regenerates faster and faster.
Mm-hmm.
Or another underrated regenerating, I don't want to say hero, maybe anti-hero, the Hulk. People underestimate his regenerative powers. The angrier he gets, the faster he regenerates. All of his powers go up.
The Flash, much needed, considering like the Flash isn't. He is human. Like getting punched and everything, he does get hurt much more than like we would say Superman or even Batman, because he's not as tough as Bruce. Let's just put it out there.
From this moment on, none of you are safe.
But he definitely does need regenerative powers to continue just for him to work as a speedster. It just makes sense as going super speed that you heal fast too.
Guys, don't mind us. This is just Charlie. It's my one of my cats here. He'll just be chilling on the podcast. He's cute.
Or it could be that Charlie's a human who turned into a cat. You know that shit, and we'll keep watching.
Which leads us to our next power, shape-shifting.
Fuck yes. Plus Mystique, the fact that Mystique can become any girl I've ever desired, automatically like jumps the charts. Like I have every hot chick I've ever dreamed about in one woman. It's fantastic. Or if you're a girl, you have every hot dude that you ever thought about in one guy. It's fucking awesome.
If you had Mystique in front of you, and you want her to be any one woman, who would it be?
I'd have to say Scarlett Johansson. A, she's beautiful. I know she's smart. Also, she's played a superhero, so I'm really cutting off a lot of birds with one stone. So, yeah.
Hey, Sarah.
Another one, I would have to say, is mimicry, or the ability to copy someone's powers, to absorb their powers and use them as your own, as referenced in again, X-Men with Rogue. She has that ability to absorb the powers and use them at her disposal.
And of course, mimic. Literally, what he does is mimic powers.
It's in his name. It's in his DNA.
Another useful power I would want to say is, I think personally to me, it beats flying, hands down. Instantaneous teleportation. Fuck yes. Okay, flying is great. I get it. People love it. It's one of the most common powers. Personally, to me, it's fucking overrated. But that's a story for another time. But instantaneous teleportation. Imagine being able to get anywhere in the world as fast as you want. Just click and boom, you're there.
Another one, like, it's just like, it boggles my mind. I first learned about that from like DBZ with Goku. Learned it, before he came back to Earth, and when Frieza got there before, him obviously. Instant transmission. But what Alan's talking about is just on a whole different ball game.
The good X-Men character that would simulate that is Blink, and her ability just to move in and out of different places is just so amazing to me. Think about wanting to be, I don't know, maybe in Paris right now. Just a clear blink and gone, moved over somewhere else.
It definitely saved us some costs on flying.
Exactly.
Expensive. Well, maybe not so much now. It's gonna go back up again. Another power that I think is actually, it's more talked about in the the strongest characters in both DC and Marvel, but it's the power to change matter at both the cosmic level or the molecular level. That one just goes into a whole, it's just mind-boggling. It goes beyond my personal imagination. For the authors of those various comics to really give a character that power, it's borderline god level.
Well, to me, I just assume that everyone who writes about like these cosmic beings is on acid. It just seems the most likely. I mean, the ability to, especially when you go to the characters like Franklin Richards, Beyonder, you have to be high, man.
I mean, Franklin Richards, his power in particular, his abilities, it goes beyond just changing things at the cosmic or molecular level. He can create out of nothing something, which is only what we've learned that the gods can do. This man, as a child, could create his own universe and then put all the heroes and villains back into it if anything had happened to universe they were in.
He's definitely, it's a character that's so powerful that now that Marvel has redone their series after Secret Wars, he exists in him and everybody else, him and most of the Fantastic Four exist in their own separate reality, just so they can continue doing his work.
If I had to say one of the most powerful characters, but probably one of the top 3 or top 5 closest characters to the one above all. I mean, obviously, no character is gonna ever catch Stan Lee, but he's a creator.
Exactly. That's why there's the one above all. At the end of the day, whoever is the writer, he's the one above all. We get to write how powerful you guys are.
But Franklin Richards, man,
he's on the top tier.
He has just about every power that the one above all does, except without the limitless marker there. Another power that I also wanted to talk about, I think is actually not really used too much, is the ability to go change time, freeze time, or go back in time.
Yep.
A very highly, I wouldn't say underrated, but maybe underappreciated power. When we have all these powers that you see, for instance, like Superman, who has, he has laser eyes, he has freeze breath.
Which is, surprisingly, as Batman once stated, once he had those powers, incredibly useful. I know, freeze breath doesn't make sense, but it works. Fucking works, man.
He has tremendously high durability. All great powers. But we see that same kind of format, and those powers are used in every really superhuman You know, this excessive durability, super strength. But there's not too many characters offhand that you know that could really manipulate time to their pleasure.
Even the Flash, he can I would say manipulate time, but he's not like a master of it by any means.
Right. He has to reach a certain speed. You know, and same with Superman, he has to fly around, you know, the Earth at a certain speed in order to rewind time. But who could really say if they wanted to just up and right now? It's just like, all right, I want to go 300 years in the future.
Most time travelers that we know of, even characters like Cable, Trunks, like from Dragon Ball Z, they all need machines. It's not an easy thing to time travel, but if you could, going back and forth between time, it's an interesting power to have. Of course, you run into all those time paradoxes, which I don't really want to spend the time to get into, but time is one of the most special things that we have in our cute little cat.
Yeah, my other little cat behind the camera, guys.
He's the cameraman.
There's another one, time traveler. It was Golds. He has a sidekick that's a machine. He's from the future.
Booster Gold.
Thank you. I was, sorry guys. I had a little mental block there.
Technically, he's not really super. The thing I love about Booster Gold is he comes back in time because he's such a shit hero in his own time,
and he obviously wants to prove himself.
And he's not even that good of a hero in our time, which is the best part.
Another one. What other powers you can think of? There's just a lot I can think of.
Just, you know what? Speaking since we have so many cats around us, the ability to control animals, man.
Yes, that's a good one.
It's so pragmatic. They make the best little spies. Like you can
easily, like we were talking about before this. We were talking about Animal Man.
Yeah.
It's not too many. Obviously, there's Aquaman, but his limitations to any animal within the sea.
Yeah.
You don't say. You don't say. You don't say.
But on land,
Wait. I guess does Aquaman have control over amphibious creatures too? Because I guess that would make sense too. If he can control crocodiles and frogs. I don't know. I've really done that.
that's a tough one. We'll have to research that. Definitely the power like that. Another power I would have to say. Ooh, there's so many out there. Well, I'm thinking we got on it.
For shits and giggles, I wouldn't mind being like Mr. Fantastic or Plastic Man, being able to stretch out. It's just pretty cool, just to tie up people for sexual purposes. Obviously,
I
it's
was
useful.
just about to go there. There's certain uses I'd have for that one. Invisibility. That's what I was thinking. I think that one, even though it's cool, again, I don't think that really gets as much appreciation. It's really great for espionage purposes. If you have a disadvantage with like a foe who's much stronger than you, you could either use it to escape or you could attack that foe where they can't see you, providing that they don't have super hearing.
And the thing is, it probably doesn't get as much credit as possible because it's like a super power. Like, come on. Most of what it allows you to do is just be an incredible peeping Tom, like, ooh, just sneaking into people's rooms. But I think it makes great for espionage, and it's even better if you can make other things invisible, like the Invisible Woman. I mean, you can protect a whole group of people by making them invisible, not just yourself.
The shields.
Yeah.
And another one that we were talking about, which we wanted to mention to you guys, is the ability to control or manipulate the elements. I think that one is probably in my top 3.
By elements,
favorites.
This time we're not talking about periodic elements. We're talking about like water,
fire,
the
earth, wind,
those elements.
All types of nature. Anything found within nature. Storm, obviously, is the most popular example from Marvel that we could think of.
I mean, TV show to recent date, we always have probably one of the best American animes ever is Avatar: The Last Airbender, and the whole show is kind of based off the ability to control one or all the elements.
Another one, the ability to like jump through dimensions.
Fuck yeah! I mean, that's like I think that's part of like the upgrade from instantaneous teleportation.
Yeah, it's in the same vein, but this one you could go to, you know, higher planes that you don't even think exist. Currently, we're in like the third dimension. I'm talking about characters that have the ability to jump into like the eighth dimension
Or across like the multiverse, you know?
easily.
I mean, it'd be great to just see how I lived in like imagine. I mean, technically in multiverse theory, if you make different decisions you make of a universe. Imagine if you can go into a universe where you decided, you know, not to go to grad school and, you know, save on student loans.
I agree with you there. Yeah, law school is kicking my ass. Was kicking my ass. We're both graduates.
Ain't that a coinky
Well, let's see another superpower that I find interesting. In general, it's a very common power, but there are certain renditions of it that make it look cool, i.e., being a speedster.
Yes.
Because the amount of things you can do while being a speedster makes it cool. If it was just running fast, it'd fucking suck. I mean, I'd rather have instantaneous teleportation for that.
It's like, you know, it's like you mentioned with the Flash. Like, he can run at certain speeds where he can even change time. You know, but or there's Professor Zoom who runs on alternate timelines.
Yeah. We can, I mean, think of the practicality of it. What makes Flash so powerful is A, he can punch people several times in a second before they even can make a punch back.
Antifreeze, anyone?
And he can accelerate his speed. I mean, as we know, the closer you approach the speed of light, infinite mass,
Oh yeah.
it's like getting hit by like a super Mack truck.
Like, it's just like infinite punch is just.
I mean, he could throw rocks at you at super speed.
And it's as if he's throwing like states at you. Like, just the speed enhancement there is just mind-boggling.
Creating tornadoes. He just has so much fun with it. I think one of the coolest things is he's able to slow down other people's speed.
Because he's running at such speeds that are, in some ways, unfathomable. Another one that's, I think personally is a really underrated one is the ability to adapt or adaptation. A good one, a good example of that is Doomsday. You can't kill him the same way twice.
Nope.
He dies once, he adapts to it, and he overcomes that weakness.
One of the best X-Men that was in one of the movies is Darwin. He just had whatever situation and environment you can put him into, his body just adapted to that environment.
It's just, that's another rendition of it. You know, it's using the elements to your advantage and really, you know, taking control. I mean, there's so many ways that you could really, so many renditions of adaptation, and so many ways that you can use it, you know, to your advantage. I think personally that's one of my favorites. Regeneration's up there, like I mentioned in the beginning, and I'd have to say probably jumping through dimensions. Those are my top three.
I mean, I personally love regeneration as well.
Who doesn't?
Super speed's up there for me.
Yeah, that's.
And shapeshifting, I really like it. I mean, it's not just because you can make all your sexual fantasies come true. That's a good side bonus, to be honest. But it's just, I like the idea of just how it works in reality, and it's one of the most interesting ones. Just be able to change who you are on a totally physical level, and be someone you're not.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's that. There's a similar power to that. Where, speaking of which, where you change yourself on a physical level, it's like phasing in and out between, you know, objects. As we see, a good example of that is John Jones, Martian Manhunter. He has the ability to phase in and out. We saw that, you know, if you guys don't read the comics, we saw that on the Justice League show or Justice League Unlimited. He would phase in and out between walls or between enemies. You could use it not just to go to other places, but also to attack enemies. You can go inside of them.
Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat is another great example of it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it's an uncommon power, but it's a power that's not really extremely popular within comics. It's kind of in between. People have seen it, but they don't see it with every character.
As far as other powers that to quickly list off before we bring this episode to a close, ice powers. If you've ever seen Bobby Drake, and it's not really, he doesn't make ice, he just absorbs the heat around him. I just find it interesting that ability to just drain all the heat and absorb all the heat from a particular area. And this is just purely because I find it incredibly useful because it's annoying. Super screaming.
Yeah. Banshee.
Just
There's that one from DC. I mean, there's so many.
Siren from DC as well.
Or sorry, yeah, thank you.
Banshee's
Marvel.
Yeah.
Marvel. I was taking it from the X-Men. I mixed the two up there, but yeah. If you guys have any other powers you want to tell us about, or that you think are even better, in the comments below, please provide us with your suggestions or recommendations, and we hope you like this episode. Once again, I'm Jesse Fetter.
I'm Alan, and that was another episode of Fixing the Fourth Wall. Hopefully we fixed it for you.
And we are instant transmitting out.